I'm Joey Buzzardville, and we're just checking in. Today, I want to talk about vulnerability. I want to talk about what happens to us when we consider doing something, but then our head gets in the way and it stops us from being vulnerable. Recently, I have run a charity event for men's prevention of suicide. And one of the tasks, part of that event, was to sing and to post a karaoke like clip onto Facebook and to share that to show that we are comfortable with being vulnerable. But it was interesting that a lot of people were donating to that charity, but actually not doing the singing part. So it got me thinking, is there a part of us that actually convinces us not to do something because we convince ourselves that it is weakness or it is embarrassing or it's uncomfortable or it's, we're going to be judged. And so that stops us then to be present and to be vulnerable. I mean, being vulnerable means that you allow yourself to be the true version of yourself without actually hesitating or questioning or analyzing or thinking about what you think anyone else is thinking. When we talk about self acceptance here at Secret Men's Business, we're really looking at you acknowledging that you are the whole and everything else around you is just an add on, meaning that you don't need permission or validation from anyone else to be complete. Remember, we come from a society or we're grown up to believe, we're taught to believe that being vulnerable as a man is weak. And remember, in this era, 2021 moving forward, we're trying to learn that that old way doesn't actually necessarily have to apply to us anymore. We can start to let go of that. We can start to actually look at life in a different perspective. That it's not weak to ask for help. It's not weak to do something unusual. It's not weak to be vulnerable. It actually is human. A lot of those old stereotypes that men are supposed to be, masculinity and all that, are so outdated. And we need to start acknowledging and knowing that being a man and a woman involves being both masculine and feminine. For us to know what it's like to be hardworking and to be solution orientated is masculine, but we also need to know what intimacy is, and we need to know what discomfort is, and we need to know what nurture is, and that's the feminine part of us. And when we bring that together, we become whole. For many, many generations, a lot of men have ignored the feminine and have suffered in silence. This whole project for me was about suicide prevention, and a lot of men commit suicide because they don't allow themselves to be vulnerable, thinking that they're going to be judged, or they don't know what to do with those emotions, so they have no outlet, which then leads them to do something that's sad and misfortunate that they're ending their life because they don't see an outcome where their pain can be shared with someone else. Um, how do we measure the ability for us to do that? How are we allowing ourselves to do that? Well, being on this forum, Secret Men's Business is one way, or joining any other men's group. But the most important thing is taking that first step and just acknowledging that it's okay. The more that we actually tell ourselves that and share that, it's like Chinese whispers, the information goes out and people start to change. Like men's groups have now popped up everywhere since 2020. Maybe it's COVID or maybe it was the right time. But what's happened is those whispers have spread out now, and a lot of men, a lot more than ever, have started to step up and talk about their problems, to acknowledge that they need help, to be comfortable with that help. The problem only comes from where there's no action. It's fine to say something like, I'm in trouble or I'm feeling anxious, but then not doing anything about it. It's really important not just to go to a chat room or to a support group and to voice what you're feeling, and then not allow yourself to be fully vulnerable, meaning going inside yourself and then allowing yourself to take those steps to change. So, all I wanted to do with this post is actually just encourage you all to think about what you can do to take that little baby step to allow yourself to be more vulnerable. Do you have to tell maybe one of your parents you love them more? Do you need to tell someone that you really love that you love them more, that you maybe not telling them enough? Do you need to allow yourself to be more assertive and to voice what you're feeling when it comes to workplace bullying or workplace situations? Do you need to maybe consider you considering other people's feelings and emotions when you're dealing with someone because maybe you think about yourself only? All of those things will transform us to become more vulnerable. Once we allow ourselves to be inside ourselves, knowing what is the right thing to do will change us. So consider how you could be more vulnerable without fear. Consider what you can do to show others around you that being vulnerable is cool. It's not scary. It's not bad. It's not weak, but it's just part of humanity. And try and take that first step. Till next time, have a great week, guys. See you then.